Hey kids, this is Lee and Melody talk about stuff with
Lee
and Melody, yeah. And
welcome to episode 2.
to episode 2. This is apparently people liked episode 1. So hey, let's do another, shall we?
Yeah, we just got back from Highland Games practice down in Orange County. I just took a glorious dump and we're ready to go.
So wonderful. Yeah, you know, Sundays were used to be band practice days for me. And so I almost met him like a million times before we actually met because we've trained in the same place before out in, that was at Oaks, right?
Ventura. No, New Hall. New Hall, that's it.
Yeah.
At the training hall.
Yeah, we
gym.
both trained out there before. And then I was really interested in trying Highland Games for a long time, and I had been directed to the Orange County Highland Games people.
Orange County Highlanders.
Mm-hmm. And then, but I never got to go practice because band practice was always on the same day. And then actually I ended up getting into starting work with a band that we perform at the Highland Games for the most part. So wouldn't be able to probably do both. So just kind of didn't work out. But now there's no band practice on Sundays, so I've been going with Lee. And so it's been pretty fun, throwing rocks and stuff.
And she's getting pretty good for any of our listeners.
Have you met me?
She's worked hard. You know, for myself, just speaking real quick to one of the events, the weight for distance, which is kind of looks like a kettlebell for those of you who don't know, except between the handle and the weight.
We might be the only live podcast where you can just reach over and grab a kettlebell to demonstrate how you throw something.
One of the implements is it's akin to a kettlebell, except between the handle and the weight there is a chain. You know, usually about anywhere from 2 to 6 inches long. And in the weight for distance, you simply throw it horizontally for distance. And the ideal method is to spin twice and then launch it. I have only recently started doing the double spin because when I first started to spin once, I looked like a monkey fucking a football. I
remember when we first met, you were telling me how the double spin was a really big challenge.
It was. I'm not a particularly coordinated person. Any of the strength training I've done up till now, to paraphrase a friend, has been linear movements, powerlifting, where in a bench press, a squat, or a deadlift, the weight simply moves more or less in a straight line. That is not the case with the Highland Games throws, and getting used to the double spin was very difficult for me. I'm only just barely starting to become proficient in it 2.5 years in. In Melody's like maybe 5th practice, she just started double spinning today and was gaining great velocity with her weight, and it looked really good.
Clearly I'm better than you. That's
Indeed.
Really what it comes down to.
But we didn't sit here. Episode 2 is one of the requests that we had, a fairly prevailing request, was to discuss how Melody, as a devout vegan, and I, as a disgusting omnivore, have reconciled those two different lifestyles living together in a relationship.
And actually, when we first met, he was kind of anti-dating a vegan.
I had one reference point dating a vegan, and she was a fucking wingnut.
Still is.
It still is. That's not what we're talking about today, though.
We should do that as a topic, though, sometime.
Anyway.
All the wingnuts that have shown up in our lives since we've been dating.
Indeed. But in a nutshell, and we'll flesh it out more, but I think the two key things on either of our part is that while a devout vegan, very dedicated, Melody is not militant. She's never called me a fucking murderer, okay?
Not because of that, no.
Right, you know.
Devout's a good word for it, though, because it really is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's as close to a religion as I have.
And she believes very strongly in it, but has never proselytized it upon me or anyone else. I, on the flip side, have simply remained open to it. She has cooked or we have been to restaurants where they have served things that I have found that I enjoy. I still approach it with some trepidation.
Yeah. It's funny because whenever we order, and I'm showing you a menu from a restaurant that's vegan, he never gets excited about anything that's on the menu ever, because he knows it's vegan and he's like, well, I can't get excited about that. But then he goes and he's like, oh, okay.
I will go. Melody has a slew of different recipes, some of which I have enjoyed, some of which I have savored, and so it's been a pick and choose process, and that's how we've. And then when we go to restaurants, I'll try a little of this, try a little of that. You know, there's many here in Pasadena, a few in downtown LA, all of which are fucking closed now. But I will find one or two things on the menu, and I always do this, even with a regular restaurant, you know, vegan or otherwise. I hone in on one or two, maybe three things.
Yeah, like that's what you order.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to such and such joint. I know I'm going to get this. That's just how I operate. And so, but in a nutshell, that's what it's come down to. She's not militant, and I've retained an open mind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know, I mean, for me, like, I went vegan for animal reasons. I'm a strong believer in it because I don't want to kill anything. I want to live as cruelty-free as possible. So, like, I've always had big dreams to open up an animal rescue, and you know, I try and save everything all the time. I don't even really kill bugs if I can avoid it, and so, you know, and to me, it's kind of like if you hunt, then you're not a hypocrite, you know, at least, you know, you have it in you to kill something. I know that I could never kill something to eat it. I just don't think I could do it. I mean, I guess, you know, people were like, oh, this is a life and death situation. Well, hopefully I'll never have to experience making a choice like that. But with the knowledge,
after the fucking COVID zombies come out.
Yeah, we could maybe eat the zombies.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Soy zombie.
No.
I can make some soy zombie for dinner.
Stay on point.
Anyway, so for me it was an animal process, and ever since I was a little kid, like I was like 5 years old, and I saw a little bug drowning in the bird bath, and something clicked in my head, and I was like, oh, well, he's trying to live, and I should help him, and so I helped him out of the fountain, and so I think it's kind of always been in me. And then, you know, when I put together that the lobsters in the tank were the ones on the plate, you know, and I used to really like looking at the lobsters in the tank, but then I was like, okay, well, no more things that look like lobster to me, so I got rid of that, and then it was kind of like, but then when I met militant vegans, they always made me feel like garbage for not being vegan, and I don't like being told how to live my life, and I don't like being shamed. And frankly, I didn't like those people. They were not people who presented themselves as people who I respected.
You know, real quick, just as a quick tangent to that, in any walk of life, in any belief system, I find when one's belief is so strong that they motherfuck people of an opposite thinking, it is the least effective way to get somebody to hear you.
100%.
Whether, and I believe this accordingly, whether it's the vegan issue, I've seen it in politics. We've all seen it with politics. How many times have you seen a Democrat absolutely motherfuck a Republican, or vice versa? Neither side will hear the other, because when your communication mode is attack, you've automatically closed off communication.
Yeah.
I've also seen it within the realm of organized labor. I believe very strongly in belonging to a union. I belonged to a union for 23 years. For a very short time when I was a teenager, I was a Teamster when I worked at UPS. It is a way of life which is very ingrained in my family. 3 generations of union men, maybe 4 now. It has, for myself, I discharged from the Marine Corps 23 years ago, 1997. I had no, I'm not gonna say I didn't have skills, that's absurd, but I had no marketable skills. And
well, you could dance, baby, you know.
Indeed. If I was drunk enough. I had no marketable skills. Nothing that went well on a resume. You couldn't say, well, I know the 14 leadership traits, you know, or any of that other stuff. I can dig the fuck out of the foxhole. That stuff doesn't translate well, unless you're dealing with, anyway, I'm not gonna go off on that one. through a loose association, the boyfriend of a woman who knew my ex-wife. I was introduced to the union ironworkers, and they took me in, literally took me in for nothing, okay? And I have managed to make a good living from it, a very good living for a person with no formal education, no degrees to speak of, and the only actual marketable skills being how to fire a rifle and carry a pack. Okay, so because of my own personal experience, forget all the social and economic factors, I believe very strongly in belonging to a union. That said, when I have had to work with or around non-union construction workers of any trade, as much as I want to call them a bunch of fucking rats and scabs and what have you, I do not, because it is the absolute last way that I will ever get them to come over, quote unquote, to our side, to live a better way of life, not just for them, but for labor as a whole. If I approach somebody and, hey, you fucking rat, is that how you fucking do that? Huh? Is that how you guys do that shit? Well, first of all, there's going to be a fight, which is neither here nor there to me, but it's also going to alienate that person and all his coworkers for good. Yeah. Okay, and that's so that template, whether it's labor, politics, religion, or lifestyle and dietary choices, when your foremost method of conversation is to go on the attack, you're automatically distancing your audience.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, it made me more determined to not go vegan. It made me like, screw those guys. I don't want to do what they're doing. And it made me not want to be like them or with them or involved with their situation in any way. So I might have become vegan long before I did, but they drove me away. And I've actually had conversation is probably not the right term for what I've had, but I've had speakings with militant vegans who believe in this hard, screaming at you, telling you doing everything wrong kind of mentality. And they strongly believe that is how that these people deserve it, and that's how you speak to them in the end. And it doesn't occur to them that it's just not.
What they all need to do, everybody that Melody's talking about, all the examples that I've mentioned, they need to read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Mm-hmm. But that's neither here nor there.
I've never even read that, and I can tell you it don't work. Not on most people. I do know people who've become vegan based on being berated or being shown the animal torture pictures and things like that. For me, it wasn't the way for me. And what was the way for me was some people who told me, well, look, do your research and tell us what you think. And that was the best thing anybody could have said to me. So I did my research, and I realized I could not live with my morals and continue not being vegan. So that's why I did it. So I mean, honestly, if I didn't believe in animal rights and animal rescue so strongly, I'm not sure I could have done it, especially back then when there was like no good vegan food. Like everything tasted like rubber, and the only vegan options were really like TVP, which I'm not a big fan of, like textured vegetable protein. It's like
what were those? It was like my ex-wife and I used to have to shop at a health food store, Mother's Market, I believe, down in Orange County when our children were little because they had various food allergies. And
And you weren't like, don't be a pussy.
It's not how it works. No. Yeah.
Don't be a pussy. Eat the peanuts.
I'm not the typical. I hope I wasn't the typical military veteran father where I ran the children like it was boot camp. Because that's not how you raise children. I hope my children might be watching this. I hope I didn't do that. That said. We used to have to go to Mother's Market to get, I think, non-dairy products. Wheat-free bread, that's what it was. And I remember seeing these, we bought them once, these fucking patties that were supposed to be like hamburger patties.
Oh no,
and they looked like grass.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure exactly the ones you're talking about, but if they were TVP patties, no. You had to rehydrate them?
I don't know. We tried them once and they were fucking gross. It was like pounding out a fucking cow patty out of a field and eating it. It was disgusting.
Well, the TVP was these little granules, I guess, made out of soy, and you had to rehydrate them, and they don't have any real flavor on their own, and so, you know, I mean, I guess it was fine if you added the right flavorings, but that's not my protein of choice. But it was, back then it was kind of my only option.
I forget what they were called, but they were disgusting, and that was my first minimal foray into anything vegetarian or vegan, and it was vile.
And then it was the guy with the jackfruit.
Oh, Jesus. So I was working with a guy. He too might be watching this. What's up, Derek? And militant vegan. And in my opinion, and the things that Melody's taught me, he made claims like I've got bad knees. I've had orthovisc injections in this one. I've had surgery and orthovisc injections in this one. It was the main, my knees, their fragility, if you will, destroyed meniscus and what have you, were the reason I shifted from endurance sports, boxing and long distance running, into the strength sports, which again may not have been the best thing because there's still a lot of strain on my knees, but it's not the constant pounding on pavement that I did as a runner. Anyway, I digress. I was complaining about my knees. This was about 3 years ago, give or take, on a job site. He's an iron worker and a veteran, and very, very devoted vegan, to the point I think of believing some of the misinformation out there on that topic.
In his defense,
there's a lot of misinformation.
There's a lot of misinformation out there about nutrition in general, and I spend most of my day deciphering it for people, trying to show people what is true in science and what is not true, what has been cherry picked, what's been fudged to try to push you into the direction of one dogma or another. It's difficult. It's difficult if you don't know how to read science, or you don't make a habit of reading journals and understanding good science from bad and things like that. Then it can become really confusing.
He made a claim one day. He said, your knee problems will go away if you stop eating meat, which I was offered no methodical reasoning behind that, nothing logical.
No sources.
Yeah, other than, and I just, you're fucking insane, is what I told him. And then one day at lunch, he said, hey, you want to try some pulled pork? And he pulls out a fucking bowl, and it looked like pulled pork smothered in barbecue sauce. And it didn't click. Why is this fucking vegan offering me pulled pork? It just, you're just kind of in the go of things. And I was like, oh, fuck, sure. Took a chomp of it, and the first thing I tasted was the barbecue sauce. So everything seemed okay. And then I started chewing on it.
The texture wasn't right.
The texture, it was like chewing stringy rubber, okay? There was something rubbery about it. And I fucking spit it all over it. Then it clicked what the fuck this is. This asshole fucking vegan just duped me, okay, which wasn't hard. And I spit it fucking all over him and got pretty angry. And I said, don't you ever fucking do that again. If you want me to try something vegan, let me know what the fuck I'm eating. But don't try to pull the wool over my eyes and trick me. And now, on the flip side, I'm sorry.
Well, I think that's a big problem too, is if you try to trick people, because a lot of times the texture is not quite right or whatever. And I don't believe in tricking people or deceiving people in order to make them come over to my side. I'm pretty open and honest with people and be like, look, this is what this is. You want to try it? I have had times when I've made things and just not said anything at all and just assumed that they knew because I'm vegan. And people go like, this is really good, what is this? And then they're like, what, this is vegan? And a lot of those people never would have tried it had they known it was vegan. So, but I wasn't intentionally, I wasn't intentionally
you were attempting to deceive them and lure them over to the good side. Right. Now that said, there are some things out there, not many, but some things that I have had. Some of the cheeses that are put on vegan pizzas are pretty convincing. Yeah. Because they get stringy and shit. Yeah. And what is that made out of? Cashews?
Depends on, not usually cashew. Oh. It's a mixture of, I believe, coconut, tapioca, some other things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then some of the new quote unquote meats, meat replacements,
like the one you had this morning,
are very good. Yeah. And so, for example, the Impossible, I'm not here to do fucking product placements or whatever. But the Impossible meat, particularly, the ones you do are good.
Well, the
but
ones we have at home are Beyond.
Oh, Beyond.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I get them mixed up. I don't know whether it's Beyond or Impossible.
The ones at the restaurants that you've had are Impossible, and the ones at home have been Beyond.
Gotcha. She does some good things with Beyond. There's a restaurant we go to called Real Food Daily, which is 100% vegan, that does a Impossible?
They do an
Impossible burger. That's fucking delicious. Mm-hmm. Just this morning, Melody made kind of a corned beef, roast beef hash kind of thing with some onions in it.
No onions.
What were those white things?
All I did was mix it up with grub worms. Yeah.
Grub worms.
No, all I did was mix it up with Violife cheese. That was it. And I put some of the
what's the
bacon seasoning on.
What's the name of the product?
That is by Abbott Butcher, which is a brand new one that I've never tried before. That was an experiment, and it was Abbott Butcher. They're not actually butchers; they're like plant butchers, right? But I've only seen 3 products of theirs on the shelves. This was their beef sausage, and it was really good.
It was really good, and it's one of the few things I've eaten that's vegan. Which if I had been tricked, if I didn't know that it wasn't meat, I would have thought it was real meat.
Yeah.
And it was very good. It was very good. We had it as a quick breakfast before practice today, and it was pretty tasty.
Yeah, and the products are getting better and better. I mean, really, it's there are more and more options as veganism becomes more widespread. There's a lot more options, and they're really good ones. And so, when I started going vegan over 20 years ago, now it was there weren't too many opportunities to have anything tasty unless I cooked just vegetables and pasta. But now there's so many options. It's great.
One of the things that I enjoy most, and I've got a voracious sweet tooth,
He does.
is the vegan ice creams out there, which more often than not are made with coconut milk, right?
Yeah, usually. There's some made with almond and some made with, I want to say rice.
They
and some made with soy.
Are fucking awesome.
They're good.
I really enjoy them. We go to one place right here in Old Town Pasadena called Sage Bistro, and it's really good ice cream.
That's cool.
We went there yesterday just for the ice cream.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that what they call a big scoop, okay?
It's like a little watermelon.
It looks like a fucking just slightly swollen testicle, okay? and I said I asked for the I told the girl I asked for the large scoop. That is the large scoop, sir. What do you got?
He ordered like 6 scoops of ice cream, and it was in a bowl like this.
Yeah, one bowl they managed like 6 scoops of ice cream like this, like I could have cupped the thing.
And it was half melted, which is so gross.
But this is
so gross.
This is Los Angeles County, where fucking hipsters with their skinny ass fucking jeans that can't change a tire or do a push up abound and think that a fucking testicle is a large scoop of ice cream.
Well, they might not be able to lift a heavier scoop.
That could be it. They don't have enough strength. Well, because their fucking actual testicles are getting squeezed by their fucking girlfriend's yoga pants that they put on.
Lee doesn't like tight pants on men. And I don't know if you noticed, but he's not a fan of tight pants on men.
I get very
irate,
animated when I see a man walking down the street and I can tell whether he's circumcised or not by the fucking slacks that he's wearing. A dude shouldn't be wearing pants that fucking tight. Add to it, there's stupid ass fucking V-necks. V-neck, I don't think they're actually V-necks. I think they started off as a regular t-shirt, but their fucking loose, jiggly man titties weighed the t-shirt down to a point, okay? And that's why they all wear fucking V-neck t-shirts. I fucking hate hipsters.
I have more fun watching Lee observe other people and watching Lee watch movies than I do actually observing people and watching movies. It is more fun to watch Lee. Yesterday we were watching this movie called Bloody Moon, and
this dude gets fucking dumped by his fiancée days before the wedding, and his obnoxious friend.
No, it's Flula Borg, and I love Flula. Flula, if you're out there listening, I love you. You're wonderful. I would hang out with you all the time because I think you're awesome.
You're a wonderful actor. But if I went on a week-long hiking trip with you and you took a Leatherman and snapped my toothbrush in half to shave 4 milligrams off my packing
That
weight,
you then put in your pocket.
I would have fucking killed him. I would have fucking killed him.
I love him. I want him to hang out with me at all times.
I don't understand people. I don't enjoy much of them. But that's a whole other thing. Getting back to vegan versus the I eat obviously. So real quick, we need a little background here. So Melody and I have pretty much lived together since we were dating a week.
Yeah.
We started dating at the end of March 2019. 2019. And I officially moved in about the middle of October 2019. What's that, 6 months later?
Mm-hmm.
But
I
from
think you were already living there.
from about a week after we started dating, I don't think I spent maybe 2 weeks in my own apartment down in Orange County.
Mm-mm.
And we very quickly came up with a division of labor that works for everybody. Okay, so, for example, because Melody does most of the cooking, I do the dishes. I think that's fair. Okay. She does the shopping because we've learned that I cannot
be trusted.
I cannot be trusted
No.
to purchase my own food.
No, you
now
cannot.
wait, real quick. We will go into depth on that. The flip side of that coin is that I watched her fold laundry once, and it was an abomination. Okay. Things weren't folded. They weren't folded. They were crumpled and shoved into a drawer. And this is unacceptable. So I do all the laundry. I wash, I dry, I fold, I put away, with very few exceptions. That's our division of labor. Now, I cannot be trusted to purchase
Anything.
I think that's a stretch.
No, it's not.
I cannot
It's
be
not
trusted. I cannot be trusted to purchase
Anything.
my own food because I will be eating. So, the format of my work lunches is things that, because I am often not home until after 6 p.m. I can work 8 to 10 hours, sometimes more. My average gym session, average, is an hour and a half. They can go longer, not to mention commuting. So I learned years ago to get things for my lunch that can be taken out of the cupboard, taken out of the fridge, shoved into my backpack or lunch pail or what have you, with little to no preparation. I'm not making sandwiches. I'm not packing fucking Tupperware. Okay, so a lot of canned items, a lot of fucking pop tops.
His lunch was.
Excuse me.
No,
Excuse me.
no.
The man is talking.
Oh, where?
A lot of pop.
Where?
Right
Where
there.
is there a man?
A lot of pop tops. A lot of fucking little peel back things of I ate fruit. I ate veggies. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
His lunch and his idea of fruit and veggies, by the way, his lunch was like Dinty Moore stew, sugar cereal, like SpaghettiOs, which I guess he considered a vegetable.
You're so full of shit.
No.
I got multiple 4-packs of little.
Canned vegetables.
They're vegetables.
Canned gross ass vegetables, and like his
They were
fruit was
veggies.
like fruit cups and syrup and stuff, and like 8
And a
pounds
banana.
and like
A banana.
and a banana, and like 8 pounds of candy and like
7.
freaking Doritos and stuff. That was his lunch before I met him. I don't know how you're alive. How are you alive?
I'm a fucking thick-headed Pollock.
And so what I had to do was I had to convert his lunch, because I basically said, yeah, you're not going to eat that anymore because I have to put my foot down somewhere. And so I had to try to convert his lunch into food that would be enjoyed by a 5-year-old, but was still relatively healthy.
No, we stuck with the similar format. Things that can be grabbed from the fridge or the cupboard and shoved into my lunch pail with zero or very little preparation, okay? Because that's still a concern. But she started buying me healthier things like seaweed, more fish.
You like the seaweed
I do.
a lot,
I very much
yeah.
like the seaweed. She gets these little things, little sheets of seaweed
Yeah.
that are flavored
the
with
nori, yeah.
ranch or
It's usually teriyaki.
teriyaki, yeah, things like that, or olive oil. A lot of fish. Okay.
Yeah, like
Just-
little salmon packets.
A lot more fruit, of course. Some things remain the same. I still eat a lot of dairy. in the form of, say, milk or yogurt or cheese. She found me these little vegan chicken nuggets, which until they changed the recipe were very good, you know.
But you like the Morningstar Farms ones, so I'll get
Yeah,
those.
there's, you know, little breakfast sandwiches. So, as the result, okay, so when I went for my knee surgery, November,
Mm-hmm.
they had to just give me a regular checkup to make sure I was healthy enough, particularly my age. I was 40, I'm 47, I was 47 at the time. Make sure I'm healthy enough to be under anesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go in for a follow-up to that and found out that my blood pressure, right, my blood pressure is dangerously high.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't characterize it as something where I could fucking go to work and drop dead by break time,
Mm-hmm.
but that if this course continues, I'm at very high risk for dementia by the time I'm in my 60s.
Or heart disease.
Okay, so as the result of I was already pretty well fixed on the diet that Melody has laid out for me, okay? And I became a little bit, we became a little bit more stringent about it in the 6 months plus hence. And my weight has gone down from about 250 down to about 240 at no loss of my strength. I'm still hitting maybe not quite lifetime PRs, but certainly a lot of post 25-year-old PRs. That was the last time I competed, or I was competitive in powerlifting. And I'm right on the verge of some of the weights that I was pushing 22 years ago. So I've lost 10 pounds with no, did something just happen to the phone?
No, I've got a message.
All right. No loss of strength at all. And I think the last time it was checked, my blood pressure was considerably down.
A lot lower.
So
Yeah.
as much as we kid each other, and I kid Melody, you know, I am not a vegan. I'm not even vegan on a daily basis.
And you still
but
need a
I
fair
eat,
amount of...
Yeah, and I still eat sweets, and I still have to, you know, I need my energy drinks. I was drinking an average of 2 a day. So that's what, 14 in a week when we met. I was down to 2 a week. Now it's back up to about 5 a week, give or take. But even 5 from 14, that's a considerable distance or difference. And you know, so it's been a positive thing.
Well, and you've also stopped the chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quit chewing tobacco. 10 November. The reason I can remember that, it's the Marine Corps' birthday.
And my dad's birthday.
I had a slip, for those of you in 12-step programs, about 2 months ago, and had to fucking start using the Nicorettes again for a few weeks, and I still have got what Melody and I have deemed the faux tobacco, which is I don't know, it's molasses based, and it has the same kind of taste and texture to you know, so I've got something in my lip, and I'm not, because that's kind of what makes me, it's not even the nicotine anymore. I think it's just kind of, you know, not having, like, much like a smoker, you know, going like this.
Yeah.
I need something in there to keep me from going a little nuts.
Yeah, it's not working.
Whatever. But so in a nutshell, while not vegan, under a vegan inspired, shall we say, and directed diet.
Definitely more vegan than you were.
Yeah, my health has increased. That, and I've slightly altered some things with my workout. I still train for, and we might, depending on the time that we devote to the whole vegan versus omnivore thing, we might get into our, I wouldn't say competing, but respective training theories.
It's gonna take a long time to talk about that.
It might. We'll see how we're at for time. We might save that for next week. But just in a quick nutshell, I still train for absolute strength. The basis of my workout is still powerlifting. I'm still focused on strongman events and throwing, but I have increased things like conditioning work. You know, for example, I don't know if you can see it. You know, like the fucking battle ropes and pushing the sled back and forth. Melody's recently invested in some cardio equipment, plus the cardio equipment that I've got in the backyard, which I use on occasion. I've increased that. And so,
Did you use the jump rope the other day? The handle was changed.
No, I didn't touch it. I can't jump rope anymore because of the knees. I won't even try. But you know, I have benefit. My health has benefited under the direction of a vegan.
And that said, like if you go and get a cardiology appointment and they tell you that you're still high risk, we're gonna have to make some more changes.
Yeah, and then I'll have to become more disciplined, you know, and I'll have to be sucking down some fucking tea or juice or something instead of these things, you know, whatever. But
it would probably be more like the Arby's and stuff like
I love me some fucking beef and cheddars, oh boy.
He loves his
Yeah,
Arby's.
those are fucking good. But you know, it's funny because I was thinking, I thought of this analogy the other day. I have become, when I was a kid, I was raised Catholic, okay? And as a kid, I was actually pretty steeped in it. You know, I went to Catholic school. I was an altar boy. No priest ever fucking diddled me. I felt a little left out.
As far as we know.
Well, maybe I diddled myself in front of the priest. I don't know. Anyway, but I was probably up until my mid-20s, I would, or whatever. That's a whole other issue. But being raised Catholic, I don't remember if it was all year long or just during Lent. We would not eat meat on Fridays. And now, here I am, 35 years later, and it's kind of become the opposite, because I'll have eaten so little meat during the course of the week that on Friday, she'll be like, would you like some vegan lasagna? And I'm like, no, I want some fucking Taco Bell. So screw you.
But you are eating more meat though. Still, you're eating a fair amount of beef jerky.
But there is no. I don't eat beef jerky. I
I
have a bag of beef jerky in beef sticks, or not beef jerky.
Well, it's dried beef.
Oh, it's not the same. I thought you were talking about the bags of beef jerky that I keep in my bag in case I work an overtime day and I have extra food. But yeah, I mean, there's a beef, but it's a grass-fed beef stick. It's not a fucking Slim Jim.
But it's still, I mean, it's still meat. You're not eating meat.
Okay, compare.
Well, no,
a
compared
Slim,
to what you were doing before.
That's what I'm talking about. And now
And
I'm simply drawing an analogy, an inverse ratio, if you will, to Friday Catholic fasting. To the opposite now, where twice a week, I'll be like, fuck your vegan bullshit.
Yeah.
I want a fucking meat lover's pizza.
Yeah.
You know, and so that is once again coming around full circle. That is how we have reconciled vegan versus omnivore, slob versus fucking health conscious. You know.
I mean, to me, like, I just don't believe in trying to tell other people that they should eat like me. If you want to do it, I will help you do it. And I'm not going to cook him meat. Hi, Bunny. I'm not going to cook him meat, honestly. I have no interest in doing that. But this is your baby porn for the day. Everybody said they liked baby the most, and so she's here. Sometime we're going to have Morrison involved, our cat. But baby is always going to be on a podcast, I think. But yeah, I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Well, you were saying how you don't believe in proselytizing.
Yeah, I don't believe in forcing people to eat like me.
I don't give enough fuck about most people to tell them what to do.
And I would, obviously I would like Lee to eat a lot healthier. And I used to nag him, and I don't want to nag him about, he's a big boy and he can make those decisions on his own. And I don't want to nag him. So I stopped being a problem child in that respect.
Well, I understand Melody's concern for my health. I understand her concern for humans in general, okay, because that's just how she is. There were times for me where it was overbearing, like getting a rock star at the gas station when we're going somewhere, and she's like, that's the third one you've had this week. I'm like, no shit.
Yeah.
And so we had to work that out, and now I had to understand that she's not trying to be a pain in the ass. She's concerned about my health. She, on the flip side, had to understand I'm gonna do what the fuck I want at times.
Yeah, and I needed to get my head around. I remember when I was growing up, my dad had heart problems. My dad had his first heart attack at age 33, and honestly, honestly, nobody thought he was going to live past age 40. My dad had everything wrong with him by the time he died. But that said, I remember my mom really just getting on his case all the time about his food. And I mean, while she kind of, on the one hand, needed to do that because he never would have gotten it together on his own. My dad was a cardiologist too, but he just didn't believe in healthy eating or exercise, really. He kind of like would, you know, pat her around on a treadmill now and then because he had to, because he'd had enough heart attacks. But, you know, my mom, I just remember my mom just getting, you know, forcing him to eat certain, you know, or trying to force him to eat certain things, and it bothered me then. And so when Lee got upset with me when I started to do it, it didn't even occur to me that that's what I was doing. But then when he kind of got in my face about it, I was like, Jesus, I'm doing what my mom did, and I don't want to do that. I really don't. So, you know, I'm hoping, you know, that Lee will stay healthy, and that, you know, his diet won't be a problem for that.
Just something else I thought of, and it's been mostly Melody doing the vegan food for us, okay? When we don't have the time, or she doesn't have the time to cook or enough supplies, largely then we Postmate it or go out somewhere, and then I eat whatever I happen to be in the mood for. But there has been a small amount of occasions where I have managed to modify my own personal recipes, and I've got a few.
You did it last weekend.
Yeah. So one of the things I did a couple times since we've been together is I do a red beans and rice. So what is it? It's diced tomatoes, red beans, some black beans, various cut up veggies, celery, green pepper, onion, okay, and over rice, very simple. But then I always mix in some smoked sausage or kielbasa diced up in there. So the very simple way we could both enjoy that is I simply keep the sausage to the side, put it on my plate, but keep it out of the stew pot, and then we can both eat that. The other modification I made was just a week ago. I made minestrone soup, so I just had to make two minor variations. Instead of using beef broth, I used a vegetable broth, and then instead of using ground beef, I used Impossible Meat.
Yep. No, Beyond.
Beyond Meat. I just used Beyond Meat and threw that in there. Simple, very easy modification. It didn't take anything away from my recipe, and we were both able to enjoy it. And it hasn't been many times, but it took some of the cooking burden off Melody here and there. There are a few recipes which I staunchly will not fucking modify, okay? One of them is my steak chili, which I often do for holidays or some sort of party, and it is always a big hit, and I will not put any fucking fake meat in there. That's one. The other one is SOS. Some of you veterans out there know what that is. I don't do it with ground beef, I do it with chipped beef. That's a very old way to do it, harkening back to like Vietnam and World War II era, you know, our dads and grandfathers, and it's made in a cream-based sauce, and I absolutely will not fucking change that. That recipe won World War II, god damn it. And
That's how we did it? That's
yes,
how we beat the
it was
Nazis
that
with
fucking
shit
recipe.
on a shingle?
Yes. But I won't change those. So I just don't cook those. There may be an occasion where I can, you know, a party where we're going to have mixed guests, both vegan and non, and then I'll make it for that. But you know, there's been a little bit of give and take, you know, and those have just been a couple of the examples in which I was able to do something a little bit different from my norm to account for Melody's tastes.
Yeah, it was good too. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's no problem, baby.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the crock pot because I can chop up everything and fucking prepare it, say on a Sunday afternoon or evening, throw it in the fridge, then Monday before work, throw it all in the fucking crock pot.
It makes that noise when you
Yes.
do the zip. Yep.
Fucking, you know, turn it on 8 hours on low, and boom. When I come home,
Yeah.
instant dinner.
I'm the same way with the pressure cooker. One of my clients gave me an electric Cuisinart pressure cooker many years ago, and I had been afraid to use a real pressure cooker for a long time. I was afraid of it. I thought it was going to explode or something. But the electric one kind of took the fear out of it for me, and I used that thing, love it. And then the little pressure thingy broke, and so it doesn't pressurize anymore. So I just got an Instant Pot, and so it is just waiting to be used now. So I'm sure I'll get a lot of use out of that. But yeah, the pressure cooker and the crock pot, both great tools for people who don't have a ton of time to cook or only have time at a certain time of day and it's not dinner time. That works pretty well.
Well, I think we've pretty well run that topic out.
Yeah, huh?
So just coming back around full circle, it comes down to not being
not being an asshole.
Not being too militant about her beliefs, and being open to trying new things.
Yep.
And that's
also finding stuff you like. Finding food you like.
Well, which comes back to being open.
And honestly, like when I do a big vegan Thanksgiving every year, and I usually make like 9 dishes and 11 desserts or something crazy like that. And I've had a lot of people who had never tried vegan food say, God, well, if I knew vegan food tasted like this, I would be vegan. So, I mean, there's a lot of really good food out there. So I would just say keep an open mind about trying it sometimes. I'm not saying you have to be vegan, but, don't be grossed out by trying a vegan thing here and there. There's a lot of good food to be had. So, yeah.
Well, I think we've run that topic out.
Yeah, and we're actually kind of out of time too, so that worked out.
As we did the first time, we very much would like everybody's feedback. If you enjoyed this, if we should keep going.
If you want to see more baby,
we enjoy doing it. We're having fun with it. But if we're only having 2 fucking people watch it every week, then
I think we have 3.
then we're probably going to discontinue it. But please let us know what you think of it. Number 1. Number 2, we are always open to different topics. We're not going to do fucking true crime. Okay, so put that one out. We're going to do things that are experiential to us.
Yeah.
One of the things that we toyed with for this episode was if the whole vegan versus the dietary thing ran too short, we were going to break into our respective training theories and philosophies and whatnot and routines. But I think we filled up enough time with this.
Yep.
I think that topic is enough for its own episode, which we'll probably do next week. Not necessarily. We'll see what we think of.
Yeah, we'll throw it out there on the social media.
What kind of feedback we get.
Yeah.
But possibly we'll go into that next week.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's it.
Let's public service announcement. Okay, put your fucking mask on. All right.
Don't be a pussy.
Don't be a fucking pussy. This isn't just about you. Put the fucking mask on. That way, if you're carrying the goddamn virus, you less chance of giving it to somebody else. And if you don't put the fucking mask on, stay 6 feet away from me, or I will help you fucking stay 6 feet away from me.
I think the big misconception about the masks is people think that we're wearing them to protect ourselves.
It's not for yourself. It's for the fucking asshole walking by you on the street.
They won't protect you from the virus, but they will protect other people from getting it from you. If you cough or sneeze or something, it retains the droplets. So that's that. And I'm going to give you some more baby porn because that's really why most of you are here. Let's face it. So there she is. Oh, there she is, baby. She's had it. She don't give a fuck. She's had a long day. All right. Bye.